Hey guys, I've partnered with CSGO RL for this video. As you can see, they've sent me out a real-life M9 bayonet autotronic. And these things look insane. They're actually really useful if you want to use them. That's actually a very sharp knife as well. But if you just want to display it, they have a whole pile of different options, all the different skins you could want. So if you want a real-life CSGO knife, I definitely recommend checking them out. You see here, Huntsman's, gut knives, shadow daggers, whatever you want. If you're an American, you have no problem at all. A couple of limitations in other countries, but make sure to check that out before ordering your knife. So check them out, the description below. Elmer Putty is your code for 10% off. So I might have called this video post-plant positioning, but it should really be talking about your post-plant movement and post-plant peaking, because that's all very important on a train. If you play too passive, you will just be collapsed on, particularly on the B site. It's not like something like your Mirage, where you can smoke off the 3 choke points, have time to set up, and then kind of lock down those 3 choke points and not let the CTs through. You think about the B site as we're looking at it right now, you enter the site all the way down there and all the way up here, and then the choke points for the CTs to rotate in are here, here and here, which is so far away compared to any other map. And the CTs have all this different room to move with. So if you're too passive and just sit back on the bomb train or behind this first train here, you're going to get collapsed upon them. There's 4 or 5 different lanes, 4 actually, for the CTs to push down and all just collapse onto you. So if you're not peeking or pushing up and denying them access to these lanes, you're going to have a very hard time. We can see Liquid in this particular round, they like to get very aggressive. This is how they seem to push up and how they like to hold their post plant. And actually it all starts before the bomb even goes down. So if we watch right now over towards this side of the map, the smoke goes down very standard, the upper smoke and the very standard smoke down the ramp to stop anyone AWPing from the connector area. Rops is already down here, and you can see he's about to get picked off, which is a great start for them. But I want to notice Twist and Elige movement, because this is the most important part of this push. One, Twist just ran straight through a smoke like a madman. This is actually not a bad idea, because our player's going to see that smoke, and either they're going to probably not spam through it, they're probably going to throw some kind of counter utility, and they're not really going to watch it. They're more likely to swing back around and watch this alleyway here, as it's much more important. Steel and Elige picked this together earlier in case you missed it, and now the 2 players are going to push up more aggressively. And again, thinking about this map as a whole of Train, you think about how small this ramp entrance is. So you throw your B execute from here, and you've got to run in this tiny little ramp, whereas the CT is rotating in, they either have to run through here, or run all the way back through there, so it's a lot longer for them to rotate, so you have a little bit extra time to push up and try and use some utility to get into position. Now I want to concentrate on Elige in this round, because to me he is the hero and he's the one drawing all the fire. So right now, notice he's isolated an angle with Chris J. He did a very good Molotov into the connector, very standard, but very good for isolating this angle. And this is a trade. Obviously Chris J just killed Twists, so it's a great trade coming through. And this is the great thing about these setups, these aggressive setups, is you can often trade the players very easily when they are getting aggressive. And this is for 2 reasons. And I'll cover them in a second, actually. Steel's about to get killed by Oscar. And again, he's about to get traded. So he goes down right now. But the thing is, the defensive system or the post-plant positioning on this map is very much tiered. And what I mean by that is the fact that you have what I would call the pushed-up positions, which is anywhere in these lanes, behind these trains. They're very hard to clear out. And then you have the standard kind of angles, which is behind the bomb train and behind this first train here, or upper as well, anywhere that can peek. You can peek from lower ramp if you want. But the thing is right now, so you notice Elige is very much, he's moving around and his job is to make himself difficult to find. But of course you also want to win fights, because that's very important. That's just very standard Counter-Strike. But right now, so Nitro is about to peek onto the player and Oscar gets taken out. And this is what I'm talking about. Is Elige, one, is making himself very difficult to be found, but he's also getting a lot of information. And if Elige or any pushed up player can win just one fight initially, it becomes very difficult for the CTs, because they win this first initial fight, and then they can reposition like we saw Elige do. That's the best case scenario. Even if they can't, they can still delay. And what this allows for is, while, say, as an example, Stico's trying to clear out Elige in one of these positions, Nitro can then peek out from these more standard positions here and get the kill onto them, because this obviously is a very vertical map, so they could be hiding here, could be hiding under here, creeping along the side of a train, and there's so many alleyways and so many positions to clear for the CTs if you do get up more aggressive. Whereas if you don't get aggressive and you stay behind this line as the T's, so you stay in this area and the upper area, the CTs can kind of waltz in down these lanes, not have to worry about clearing them out, and then really use all the utility and concentrate all their firepower on these couple of angles. Yeah, so that's why it's very important I'm talking about to get up and aggressive. And you can see Nitro's able to just trade Elige, and Elige able to just win some fights. This is what I was talking about. So it's a 2v2 right now, and as soon as Elige wins the first one-on-one later in the round, it basically becomes impossible. Sunny's flank is way too late into the round, and Nitro gets an inkling that's happening, clears everything out, and it becomes a very, very easy kill in the end. But the main thing to take away from this is the fact that no one can be too passive on train. And if your whole team gets very aggressive, these players back here are peeking as these two players here are applying pressure. So you get 2 players here, 2 players here. These guys are playing a whole lot of pressure, making these CTs have to worry about clearing them out so much. These players can always have a free couple of peeks, clearing out these angles while the CTs are worrying so much about the more aggressive and pushed up players. Now some teams prefer not to get aggressive or might not have the utility in their round to do so. So in this particular round here, you'll see Gambit only use their 2 very standard smokes, and they're not as confident as Team Liquid. They kind of sit back and don't really get too aggressive. But what they are still doing is they're still peeking and locking down these angles. Look at this bunch of, look at they have 4 players right now, all aiming at this one spot. They're all ready to fight someone together. And this is another thing you need to do. So if you're not going to get aggressive, you need to take fights and delay once again and stop anyone coming through. Because even if you're just peeking out and fighting someone, that's still seconds off their time where they've got to stop to try and fight you. Then you disappear again, then you can peek out. And because there is, again, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 angles you can play. Even if you do just sit behind here, you can jiggle in and out and really just be a huge pain, basically. And you can see Mo is very aggressive. He's actually on top of the train looking for any picks. And it's only now that Adren's playing the bomb. Adren was peeking with the rest of his teammates, making sure no one was close, making sure they'd get these picks on anyone. And now he's playing the bomb when Mo's in a good position, sees he's ready to push out, look behind that smoke, and the player upper is also there as well in Dozier. Now, moving forward in this one, even Adren with no smokes up is going to move. And an important thing about this one, and one thing to notice, is people are lazy. Whether it be a video game or real life, people are still lazy. People rotate in here and they're much more likely to just peek down these angles initially rather than jump across and worry about these angles. Obviously Zipex is here and it's not a foolproof thing. What I'm telling you is the further someone has to move, the less likely they're going to be there, even in a video game. You see Adren actually gets aggressive with no smokes or anything up. He wants this fight right now, and still Mo's still up here. He's making sure no one's crossed. And this is another advantage of Mo's position, is Adren knows right now that no one has crossed this lane right here. So he knows he potentially has some extra wiggle room to move around, and it's only really anyone who's rotated like Zipex has that could be there to clear him out. Actually, I think Zipex was there initially, excuse me. But even so, you'll see Adren, he starts to move up here and he's clearing up a whole pile of things. And even once he clears it out, he's again getting into a position he doesn't want to go down because time is off the clock right now, and their team is committed to this further back approach. But notice he's still so aggressive with all these peaks, and this is what you need to be doing. Mo, again, he's repositioned a little bit. We heard an AWP shot ring off and seized his double facing with him. This is, again, a very important tactic you can use, is just double peeking certain positions. Obviously, a player looking up here, Hobbit in a very interesting position. Try this one if you want. Magis completely misses him. But you can see eventually what happens is this hold actually gets called off. Adren's going to start wiggling back and forth. He's still looking for fights. And as soon as he wins this fight onto Adren, Astralis want nothing to do with it. They know they're going to be struggling. They know the player on the flank is going to have a bit of a problem facing C's. He's falling off, which was an interesting choice since he has a UMP and C's is on 16 HP. But I guess they don't know that. That's not really what we're talking about. But you can see how Adren's movement and how Mo being very aggressive with that AWP in the initial part of the round, locking down these different angles, allows Adren some movement, and he's able to clear out this movement or clear out the positioning of the CTs. And again, just all peeking together, we saw the double peek between Adren, seized, and Mo again, and Astralis want nothing to do with it in this one. So you can see double peeks are very important if you aren't going to get aggressive. You just want to sit behind here, double peeking angles, having your player a very strong position. We saw Adren in here and another player here. You can kind of peek together, obviously, because it's basically the same spot, just one's further forward. So you can both peek out this way, clear out this angle, and so on and so on. So that's very important. If you don't want to get aggressive, you need to be peeking, because with this map, as I said, if you just sit here like a coward behind here and have a player maybe sitting up here, or one person being just sitting like Hobbit was, and you got 3 players alive, these guys are just going to collapse onto you. One come up here, one come up here, one come up here, and they're just going to shoot you, collapse onto you, and 3 people are going to be shooting you at once. So you need to be peeking at all times, and that's just how the B site works. Always be prepared to face. If your teammate gets faced, you want to be facing with them, or at least trading them. If you get that done, you're going to have a much better time holding the B site than if you do sit back like a coward. The A site is no different to the B site. As far as you have to do a lot of work before you even get onto the site, or before the bomb actually goes down. As you can see some picks coming in initially. I want to look at Tarek's movement right now. So Tarek and Rush are going to be in sync for a lot of this, and the way they trade each other off is again very similar to what I was talking about on the B site, because the A site is very similar. Obviously the bomb train's further back, so the main difference being on B, obviously you kind of straight out to the bomb train. On A, you have to walk a little bit further, so you are kind of forced to take more aggressive angles. But if we look at Tarek's point of view, we can see he's going to be swinging around. You can see a lot of the work is all done before the bomb's even gone. Rush still carrying the bomb, clearing all this without Tarek. Skadoodle draws from Kirby, and then Tarek's able to take him out. And right now, so the bomb's gone down as Skadoodle and Tarek are dealing with this last player from the A site. And this is again what makes the A site a little bit unique compared to the B one, is the fact that there's always at least 3 players playing here. So there's going to be a lot of players dead already before you actually have to play post-plant, because that's just the way the site works. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to plant in the first place. So Tarek doing a good job of jiggling here, basic CS, trying to avoid the shot of the AWP. But right now, look at the adjustment. Rush moves off the bomb just a little bit to help Tarek out. He's going to face the angle that Tarek was facing, so that now the CTs, they've wasted time, they've taken this initial fight, Rush has got the bomb down, and now they're not really going to be sure where to look. Skadoodle's taken up the very strong angle in towards the connector, and obviously he's also going to see anyone that tries to cross if they did try and flank down the pop dog area. So from Tarek, we're going to see he's going to face this angle just in case anyone did manage to wrap around in the commotion, but Rush is going to take this fight, and you can see as Tarek gets peeked, he's done a good job of delaying. Rush is going to peek out, draw the fire, and then Tarek can swing out. And Zipex doesn't know where to look because, again, these players are facing together, playing a nice little crossfire, and that's very important on this map. They're not running away and hiding, because then that allows the CT's time to move. Dupree has no chance, and his last option is just left to save. And that's it, guys. One more thing about the A site is if you do manage to take it successfully, you can kind of walk around these bomb trains, but again, you need some kind of information if you are in a 1v1 or a 2v2, because otherwise the CTs might get the timing onto you, or even if you don't get the information, you need to be moving, making it difficult for the CTs to know the timing, knowing that they've cleared you out. So if you're playing a 2v2, you think about this right now, they might come through, they're retaking from here, they might clear out, like, okay, there's no one here, I've walked down here, there's no one here, and there's no one here, whatever. They got to clear out all these spots, but if you're constantly moving, they can't clear it out methodically. They might come down and clear out this angle, and then as they're coming and clear on this, you've walked back around here, and they think they've cleared this angle, but that's actually where you've repositioned. And because, again, there are so many alleyways on both these maps, CTs can't be 100% sure they've cleared out a spot, because you can be walking around and always moving as the T team, and it always makes it very difficult for CTs to be 100% sure what they've cleared and be confident that they're not going to get shot in the back. So my advice would be not to just stay stationary on this map, always be moving, try to make some kind of move. Obviously it comes down to a bit of a game sense, a bit of feeling as to when the team's going to push or what the timing's like, where they're rotating in from. But make sure you're always moving, don't sit in the same spot for like 30-40 seconds, because this gives the CT time to reposition and clear out all these different angles without you making it more difficult for them. So that's it. Make sure to subscribe and check out the link in the description below. Check out the real life CSGO knives.